It has been a while, but we are back, coming at you with suggestions, recommendations to help improve your game development skills. Hey everyone, I hope you're well, playing and are making the games that you all love. You're joining me, your host, Senior Level Designer Max Burrs. Absolute pleasure to be here with you, and I hope that you and your loved ones are safe and you're all well and enjoying this, whatever you're listening, morning, noon, or night. Absolute pleasure to have your ears for this time, so thank you very much. It's been a while, and I thought it'd be great to go back to the recommendation list. I think this is the first one of the year, but it's great to be doing it and recommending great resources from other incredible game developers, because after all, I do not know it all, and it's even better when we as a community come together and share knowledge and resources between one another. Now, before we get into this, if you do want to make sure that you subscribe, whether you listen to this via YouTube or by Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening, subscribe, and if you're listening through the podcast, please rate us 5 stars, because that just means we get more attention and get to reach a wider audience, and we do appreciate all the support and love to everyone who listens to the show. So thank you very much. Now, without further ado, let's just jump straight into this and talk about my first recommendation.
But first, let's have a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is none other than me. What I've done, everyone, and I hope you're excited for this, is I've actually created a level design kind of store. What I've done in this store is put up different kinds of tips and tricks that you can find there, whether that be my actual ebook itself, to that of level design pamphlets focused on different things such as traversal, stealth, breaking into the industry, as well as different talks that I have done which you cannot find anywhere else other than on this store. So if you are looking to improve on your level design skills and processes, then check out the Level Design Store, which will be down in the description below, where there'll be a link to find this. All you need to do is head over to gumroad.com/level design lobby. I hope you like what you see, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Thank you, and now back to the show.
Number one comes from The Escapist. This is a video up on YouTube, which is called Why Bloodborne's Level Design is the Perfect Invisible Teacher. Now, this is a really interesting one because the Souls-like series is obviously well known for its difficulty, its challenging enemies, its unique way of telling stories. But not only this, is it's renowned for incredible level design. And Bloodborne, I think, was one of their best in terms of the level design factor, with its constant loops and shortcuts. But it talks about how this game actually leads you, because, again, these aren't really known. When I say these, I mean the series isn't particularly known for, as we said, friendly hand-walking tutorials. But how does it guide you through? And it references a few things, such as that as the lighting and item placement that is there for the players to understand. Enemy design, how does that push you if you're possibly scared of fighting certain enemies, which no one would blame you for? Jeez Louise. Those enemies are the stuff of nightmares right there, as well as different ones in terms of, other elements that we can use, and the looping around, and those shortcuts, which is really important. The fact that you die quite a lot in that game. So it's really interesting, again, just how they do this and the amount of detail that goes into it. I should have mentioned this at the start, but obviously all of these will be linked in the description down below if you do want to check them out. So go check them out once you've listened to here. So that's number one.
At Level Design Lobby, we believe everybody has a story to tell. Hobbyist or student, freelancer or veteran, we made it our mission to unite those who share our passion for creating and developing great games. Thanks to our generous Patreon backers, we've been able to do just that. So if you've already pledged your support, Thank you. If not, you too can ensure the future of Level Design Lobby, helping us to create even more exciting content, collaborations, interviews, and much more. With awesome perks and rewards, whether you're a seasoned professional or just getting started, you're sure to find something for you. Want to share tips, tricks, and advice with passionate, like-minded developers? Our awesome community Discord has you covered. Fancy practicing your level design, creating strong portfolio content, and having fun? Then try our level design weekends. Or perhaps you want to individually discuss your work, hone your skills, or level up your career? Then consider our one-on-one mentorships. If you share our vision, then go to patreon.com/Level Design Lobby for more information and to pledge your support. Thank you.
Let's go to number 2. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see me giving this a shout out. But this one has to go to my friend Tim Does Level Design, all one word, who does a great job in talking about bubble diagrams. Bubble diagrams is what some LDs use when they're creating and crafting the levels in the pre-production stage. I personally have not used it, but I've seen friends and former colleagues recommend getting into the habit and talking about the benefits. And as I said, I don't know much about it, but it was great to see Tim break that down and explain why it's useful, that you get a much bigger connection, or should I say picture of the connection of your level and how you want elements to flow between different rooms, what's actually happening as you transition, what does each room provide, and again, just giving us an overall understanding of the space before we actually create the structure itself. So it helps control the flow, possible pacing, as well as distribution of gameplay, mechanics, and elements. It's a really cool one. If you haven't, do go subscribe to Tim's channel. He's got great tools available there for us to see, so check that one out there. Another good one done by Tim. Now we're going on to the third one in this, and this one is by Clement Melendez. I hope I pronounced your name, Clement, correctly, but I've seen some of Clement's work throughout his time. He's wrote some great articles. I've even referenced some in previous talks that I've given, and it's a really cool kind of elements and just how his mind works. He has some great stuff out there. And this is an article, I don't know when this was written, it might have been a while ago, but it's a really good one called Push and Pull, The Art of Guiding Players Through an Environment. Now it's broken down into different stages, but even just the introduction is a great start for anyone. So if you're wanting to understand again how to guide players, same with what we talked about in that of the Bloodborne level, push and pull, grab the players into certain directions. There's some great techniques which he references here. Solid read, and honestly, I'm a fan of Clement's work. Really cool to see, and it's just up and ready for us to check out at any moment that we want. Now you know what we have to do. It's the shameless plug section, where I talk about a previous episode that I have done. And that one just came out as I'm recording this about 10 days ago, which is me giving tips and tricks on how to apply and stand out for level design jobs and roles. I know there's a range of people, different skill sets, different experience who listen to this podcast, but I believe there are elements in there that help us regardless of your skill and experience, because as we know, some people spend a long time in their first job before applying to the next. Others are on contracts and need to find somewhere else after their contract has run out. And this is a really personal one for me because I get asked these questions a lot. And when I'm answering this, I obviously don't know the answer to every question. Each process is different, but I give you my overall tips, thoughts, as well as ways to carry and best present yourself as you're going through the application and interview process. One of the things that I think is always fascinating for us, when you think about it, we never actually are taught how to apply for a job. And being a level designer, the craziest thing is, when you're going through the process, most of the time, it's not always about your level design. You'll have a test, but that may not be you making a level. It depends. Some of it is. Some of them take 3 days. Some of them I've seen take up to a month, which is a ridiculous amount of time for a test, I'm going to be honest. But you can see that there's different processes. And I talk about how to stand out through it, how even just your portfolio, your CV can make an impact. Now, I don't know how big. Every experience and every process, as I mentioned, is different. But it can still make an impact on you standing out, gaining the attention that you need to impress, being memorable, and all of this. Recently, I've just done a CV revamp of my own. And geez Louise, they've changed so much from when I was taught how to write a CV back at university. They are so, if you just Google now CVs, you'll see that they're a lot more graphically involved. The composition is impressive, right? It's way more than what text that just was there. So it's interesting to see. And especially in our line of work, when you think about it, the process is a long one. Most the experiences that I've seen tend from 3 to 9 months, depending. Some take 6, but it's in that time scale. But again, if you found a way to stand out, to impress at each stage, then that's important. So I will talk about this and reference them in my video there. So if you want to check it out, please do check it out. Now let's go on to the final one of this episode. This one is a great breakdown, and this is on Game Developer. Now, it's by Simon Carles. Carles. Sorry, sir, if I've mispronounced your name. But it's a really fascinating one, as it's called Lessons from a Disappointing Game Launch, Spire of Sorcery. And just interviewing and chatting with the developers of how early access has come to bite them in the backside in some way. And I don't say that in a insulting way. They'll even talk about how it's changed, what it's changed, and how when people bought the game in terms of timeline, how it changed their perception and their review and response to it. And just how do you get your game out there and keep it maintained in a positive light, right? It's a fascinating one, because that's another element that we don't talk about in the game industry as well, is the amount of games that launch but sadly aren't received well. And that is part of the challenge, right, of being a game developer, especially in the indie market and early access as well. Wow, like, people are going to change their opinions, and how do you keep them there? It's a tough one, but again, there's a lot of cool steps and thoughts that they bring to this, which I think is a great way for them to not only learn themselves, but to share with all of us. Always great to see, so I appreciate them sharing this. So yeah, if you want to check that out. So there is where we're going to end this in terms of the incredible resources. To list them off again, the first one I recommended was Why Bloodborne's Level Design is the Perfect Invisible Teacher. That's over on YouTube. The second one is Bubble Diagrams, Planning for Level Design. Third one is by Clement Melendez, where he talks about how to push and pull the players through the level. Then we have my talk about tips and tricks for applying for level design roles, as well as the final one, which is that of Lessons from a Disappointing Game Launch, Spire of Sorcery. So I hope that you've enjoyed these. If you do want to reach out to me to recommend resources which you think the community is going to love and appreciate, please do so. You can get contact me over Twitter, which is @MaxPairs. You can email into the show, leveldesignlobby@gmail.com. If you want to support the show and help make sure that we make and continue this incredible journey, head over to patreon.com/leveldesignlobby. Make sure to subscribe, rate the podcast wherever you're listening. We appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who listens and some of the Patreon supporters who support this and make this possible as well. Thank you to all. Take care. Have a great time. I'll catch you all next time.